Relations between the United States and European Union have been deteriorating since businessman turned politician Donald Trump clinched the U.S. presidency in 2017. Trump, who campaigned on protectionist policies, pledged to put America first. But to make good on his controversial promise, the former real estate mogul needed to confront even Washington's closest allies. Undeterred by a barrage of criticism from both sides of the Atlantic, President Trump imposed tariffs on European imports. And what's more, he pulled the U.S. out of the Iran nuclear deal, a hard-earned achievement of Trump's Democratic predecessor Barack Obama and the EU. Such measures caused quite a stir among some European powers that found it hard to view the U.S. as an ally.
American politicians tend not to think that other politicians have publics and electorates that they have to look after as well. You know, they tell European politicians, you have to work with us because Congress wants this and the American voters want that. But very rarely do you get sort of the British or the French or the Germans saying, hey, look, our voters want this, because they know the Americans aren't interested. So what this has really brought to a head a problem that's been long-standing.
Speaking at a news conference in Berlin, German Chancellor Angela Merkel repeated her warning about Europe's ties with the U.S. under President Donald Trump. Merkel said that Europe could no longer rely on the U.S. to impose order on the world. She also called on European leaders to take matters close to home into their own hands. Germany's chancellor did not elaborate further, but she could also be hinting at Europe's military alliance with the U.S. It is important to remember that NATO spending has been a bone of contention between President Trump and other NATO members. Last week, Trump told the United States NATO allies to spend 4% of their GDP on the Western military alliance. That's even 2% more than the spending target that only 5 out of 29 countries have met.
Well, I mean, militarily, no way. I mean, the Bundeswehr, the German military's own self-assessment is that they're in abysmal shape to face any type of war. And this is part of what Trump's complaining about, the fact that they have underspent on the military by American standards. But of course, it's good for Europe. It's good for countries not to spend money on military adventures and to spend it instead on investment at home. The Germans finally have realized that. You'd have thought after 1945 most of us would welcome this, but it's still Europe is not really in any way prepared to counter American militarily.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel issued the warning a week after U.S. President Donald Trump met his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin in Finland. And the two leaders are planning another summit on U.S. soil in autumn at Trump's invitation. The Republican billionaire has tried to forge close ties with Putin since he took charge of the White House. Trump getting too cozy with Putin could be another issue that has concerned Germany and other European powers. Let's not forget that the U.S. and European Union imposed sanctions on Russia following Crimea's move to rejoin the Eurasian country in March 2014. Russia's encroachment on Ukraine, as Europe sees it, and a democratic process, according to the Kremlin.